Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
Oh, here we go. Let's get right into it now with the one and only Bill O'Reilly. Julie Gunlock. It's Bill O'Reilly. We love talking to Bill O'Reilly.
Very exciting.
And he loves talking to us because, I'll be honest, and Bill, I think that you'll confirm this, we sell books.
Yes, and I couldn't sleep last night looking forward to this. Larry and Julie, good morning. How are you?
Oh, great. I got the image of Bill O'Reilly lying sleepless in his bed thinking about me. Wow.
Well, it wasn't exactly that way, but I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Well, we always enjoy our conversations. Bill, you've got a new book out. It's called Confronting Evil, Assessing the Worst of the Worst. And I got to tell you, talk about timing is perfect because you lay out why Stalin was evil, why Hitler was uniquely evil, the Ayatollah Mao Zedong, because these days in our political discourse, if you disagree with somebody on, tax policy or law enforcement, you're Hitler. And we've dumbed down the idea of this evil, horrible entity that was once writing terror across our planet.
And certainly trivialized it. So the timing of the book, as somebody said last week, to me is haunting. Yeah. It comes out Tuesday, 1 week ago, and then on Wednesday I wake up and Putin's lobbing missiles into Poland, unbelievably dangerous. Yeah. And then a few hours later, Charlie Kirk is assassinated. And all the people I know are looking at me, and I go, listen, I'm not Nostradamus. These books take a year to put together and get into print. I did know, though, last year at this time, that there was a rise in evil. I could see it as a historian. It wasn't as bad as the 1930s, when that, in modern times, was really the evil era after the Depression. And you saw the totalitarian governments in Germany and Italy and Japan and Spain and on, and basically deprive all their people of rights and then try to expand. The result was 100 million people dead in World War II. So I said, I'm seeing a rise of evil, and let me get into it. So we wrote the book. Now, the key to this whole thing, the key to understanding evil, is to know the simplicity of what it is. If you hurt another human being without any reason, you just hurt that person, you know you're hurting them, you feel no remorse in doing so, that is an evil act. And if you do it over and over, then you are evil. I put the number of evil human beings on a planet at 15%, which is a hell of a lot of people.
That's terrifying.
Yet in our country, many, maybe perhaps most of the population does not want to even consider evil. They turn away.
Well, and Bill, you mentioned these people, obviously Stalin, Hitler, Mao Zedong, but what we're seeing after the Charlie Kirk murder, the assassination, is what we like to say are normies, school teachers, nurses, doctors, people that we like to say have normal jobs, celebrating this, cheering this, going on TikTok and on Instagram and cheering this. It's so chilling. I have to say, what my reaction to that 15% was, yep, I think you nailed it.
Well, I had a forensic psychologist on the No Spin News last night, which is my radio and TV broadcast all across the country. And the man said, listen, a lot of people have terrible thoughts, but they don't act on them. They control themselves, but they think terrible, awful things in a variety of ways. But social media has now elevated those thoughts into action for the mentally ill. Now, if you're mentally ill, that doesn't excuse your behavior. You know what you're doing. The person who slaughtered that poor woman on the bus in Charlotte, the guy who killed Charlie Kirk, the person who almost killed Donald Trump, all right, they knew exactly what they were doing. But they were so damaged that they didn't stop themselves. They did not. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't surprised, Julie, when I heard about academics, and I think the list is up to about 50 people who have been fired or suspended from their jobs who were cheering on the death of Charlie Kirk. But if you step back and you look at how horrendous that action is, it's an evil act. I mean, you may not be evil. You might have made a mistake by cheering on his assassination, but it's evil because you got his family, his kids, little kids, and the victim's family. They're finished. That's what evil does. Evil spreads out, and anybody associated with evil gets hurt. So the thing about it is, if these people made a mistake, then like Stephen King, the writer, all right, he apologized for doing what he did. But his pattern of behavior over the years is fairly hateful.
Right.
And I don't know why these people carry it to that extreme. I really don't know why. But they do, and the social media helps them do it.
Bill O'Reilly is our guest, and his book is Confronting Evil, Assessing the Worst of the Worst. By the way, you really should check out Bill's YouTube channel and the content that he continues to produce on YouTube. Regular streaming content, which is very professional, by the way, and, well, it's Bill O'Reilly, after all. Bill, in research, first of all, quick question. Do you find, as you talk about this book, that there is a generation coming out of our public school system and our universities that don't really know the full truth about Stalin and about Hitler and about Khomeini and about this evil? This really isn't – Mao Zedong is not really focused on very much in our public school systems, after all. And I think, frankly, in my opinion, it's because the Marxist socialists who run our schools and educate our educators, in their heart, they sort of agree with the, oh, sure, he broke a few eggs, but we do like that omelet that he was trying to make.
Well, I mean, the public school system in general, not the elite schools in the really swanky neighborhoods, they function all right. But I say most public schools, and I'm a former high school teacher, they ignore history. They don't want to. There's a large percentage of high school students who don't know anything about the Holocaust. They don't know anything about it. They might have heard about it somewhere, but they don't know what happened. And when I write any of my books, we are the best-selling nonfiction authors in the world. I make it so everybody, if you can read, you can get through this book. It's not 800 pages of Mark Twain. I mean, it's boom, boom, boom. Here it is. The guy who did this. And I couldn't find any women, Julie. I looked. I figured, I got to do one woman in this book. I couldn't find one woman throughout history.
Larry, do not offer. Larry's about to offer.
I've got some suggestions.
Yeah, Larry's got a secret list. I understand.
Can I co-author the sequel here? I'm ready for it, Bill. You know what? I'll send you an outline. Trust me.
All right, but I tried. I didn't exclude.
Well, Bill, honestly, I'm going to send you a note about some Northern Virginia ladies that might fit the bill.
Yeah. Julie's neighbors. No. Once again, the patriarchy wins this round. Bill O'Reilly, get his book, Confronting Evil, Assessing the Worst of the Worst. I do worry, though, Bill, are you getting soft in your old age? What does it take at this point in your career to have you call someone a pinhead? Because I've tried a couple of times here, and you just haven't done it.
Yeah, because of the seriousness of the age, I'm kind of pulled back a little on the invective, but I can still get there. Okay. But you really have to annoy me. You're asking me a funny question, but it's a serious question. I'm not in the ideology business, and a lot of people misinterpret that because of my 20 years plus at Fox News. That's not what I do. I'm in the fact-finding, problem-solving business. And I was summoned last week to go to meet with President Trump at Yankee Stadium in 9/11 game. And the invitation came at the last minute. But I knew that he wanted that there was something on his mind. And he summoned me, 4 or 5 times since he's been elected for private conversations. And it was Putin and it was Charlie Kirk. And the Charlie Kirk thing was particularly interesting because Trump was very emotional. He didn't show it. He never does. But he was very emotional about it because that was identical to what happened to him.
Yes.
Identical. Yes. And it was a millimeter, okay? And it was like you opened that door again, his experience. And then, we discussed, okay, you're the leader of the free world. You obviously have to set, some kind of bar here about this behavior. It's up to you. You're the president. I don't ever tell any president what to do. I said, but you need to think about it in the sense that the nation wants to hear from you. And then the next day he's appealed for calm. He did point out that the shooter's family, which I thought was good. But he also said, listen, there are organized groups in this country, well-funded, that are driving hatred, and we're going to take a look at it. And I applaud that. Unlike the network news people, how can you do it? No. If there are organized groups funneling hatred into the internet, and we don't know, it's called dark money, we need to know. So anyway, I just threw that in.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, and it really does sort of bring everything into perspective, and that's why you're the professional that you are, and I'm just the stupid morning guy in D.C.,
No, I wouldn't denigrate yourself. We can do that,
Pinhead.
Barry. You don't have to do that to yourself. Julie and I will handle that.
Thank you, Bill.
I love Bill O'Reilly.
Thank you, Bill. May I have another?
Thank you, Bill.
Get to talk with you, Bill.
Quoting Animal House, everyone.
Get his book, everyone. Confronting Evil, Assessing the Worst of the Worst by the legendary Bill O'Reilly. 8:18 now.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
My oldest brother, Doc, loves Bill O'Reilly, subscribes to his stuff. He just can't get enough of Bill O'Reilly. He and my other brothers are all coming into town. We're spending the weekend together coming up this
fun.
weekend. And that exchange right there with Bill O'Reilly, that just made me a hero with my brother. That's going to be. It's going to be.
Can play
great.
it for him later.
Speaking of heroes, Corey Inganamort, a former employee here, former producer of Vince Colonnese's show in the afternoons, and now a colleague of mine over at Town Hall, he stumbled upon some, your neighbors, basically, Northern Virginia, white suburban liberal women.
Awful.
And they were decorating and defacing with chalk a park near Stephen Miller's home where his children play, like right across the street, right in the neighborhood. And calling Mr. Miller, father of a couple of kids there in the neighborhood, everybody's neighbor, calling him, horrible names and saying that he's preying on
families.
America, I believe.
Yeah,
is what this,
he and they said if you tolerate this, all of our children will be next. I mean, this is
that he's a predator of children.
Yes, yes, it is, and then making fun of Erica, his wife, saying she's cosplaying being a trad wife. I mean, just despicable, disgusting things meant.
Hateful.
To bring attention to the Millers living in that neighborhood, meant to really get people to harm them and scare them.
Threatening their personal safety in their home and in their neighborhood with this sort of thing. And they'll, of course, say, we're not making threats. No, but they're adding to the climate
this is
that
4
we're
days.
living in right now.
4 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, they're putting this kind of chalk drawings, bringing attention to the Miller family, and basically saying to people, hey, imagine, they're saying that Stephen Miller is a predator of children and families. What do they expect people to do?
If
you're a worried
you want to
family,
protect your family,
maybe you should hurt him. That is exactly what they're trying to say.
Cut 25. By the way, these are Abigail Spanberger voters. I want to keep reminding everyone of that. Here's Corey confronting them. Cut 25.
Yeah, if you want some chalk, you're welcome to.
Thank you.
Join.
Miller is preying on families. Do you think that's appropriate rhetoric 4 days after a political leader was assassinated?
Yeah.
Can you explain yourself, please?
Absolutely. He is.
Preying? Wouldn't that incite a reaction to...
Oh, shut up.
Wouldn't that incite some sort of violence? No, I'm not.
No.
Are you getting triggered by the voices there? This is what you hear in your neighborhood as you're walking
it's very Jessica Tarlov. I honestly, and that's the thing. She refused then after that to engage with Corey. I know we have another cut, but that's what they do. They won't explain themselves. They will not, stand up and have a civilized conversation. They just want to put these disgusting messages down and walk away. Yeah. And God bless Corey. He wasn't letting up.
No, he wasn't. Take a listen to this last exchange. It's great.
So you just want families to come by and read this and think that that's, fine?
Yeah, they can look it up.
I think this might be harassment.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel threatened by you.
Actually touching me is...
No, you are threatening women. You're a tall man and you're threatening us and we feel unsafe.
Just by virtue of being tall. What's so funny is these idiot women, it's on video. Corey they backed into him and then said, oh, you're touching me. Oh, you're threatening me. He is the gentlest. Corey is a gentle giant, just like you, Larry.
Of course he is, for crying out loud. The privilege that they are exhibiting there by saying, I'm a woman, so you can't confront me, challenge me, or talk to me. Otherwise, it's harassment. It's also, by the way, one other thing that you should know about these women in the neighborhood, hate has no home there, in case you were wondering.
Right. All are welcome.
8:23. Julie, coming up, we have to talk about a breaking story now. We're learning that actor Robert Redford, star of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting and many other legendary films, has passed away at the age of 89.
Oh.
We will give you... It is very sad news. Just an iconic figure. We'll give you details on what we know about his death coming up in just a moment. Also, if I may, coming up next, Justin Keener, president of Americans for Public Safety. Keep it here.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
37 this morning. O'Connor and Company will give you more details as we learn them about the announced passing of Robert Redford coming up in a bit. Chris Plant, who is often be referred to as the Robert Redford of the talk radio industry, will be taking over in 30 minutes. Why is that funny, Julie? Why?
I'm not laughing. Don't say
that. You were laughing.
No,
I believe your tea just came out your nose when I said that. There's nothing funny about that. Chris Plant is a very handsome man.
He is. I know. You're so mean.
Hey. What do you mean? Okay, you can agree without sounding so enthusiastic about Chris Plant being a handsome man. He's married, There's a lot to unpack there in the tightly wound psyche of Julie Gunlock, and we don't have nearly enough time to get to it. But we do have Justin Keener joining us right now. And
Save
a
me,
much more
Justin.
important issue, by the way, president of Americans for Public Safety. And we wanted to take your temperature here and find out your reaction to President Trump's announcement yesterday that there will now be National Guard and federal law enforcement cooperation with the city of Memphis. Now, this is with the cooperation of the Tennessee governor and the mayor there. That obviously makes a difference. But what does this look like? And is there precedent, Mr. Keener, in American history for this sort of action to take place?
Well, good morning, Larry and Julie. Thank you for having me on. This really is an incredible time in our nation's history where the public is demanding a return to public safety. And what we're seeing with the president's actions in directing federal resources into cities, I think is something that the public wants to see, expects to see, and expects to see our politicians working together. As far as precedent, you have several different varieties where presidents can send troops in, even involuntarily, but many times it is at the request of state officials, whether it's for emergency disasters, natural disasters, or riots, or other things. And in this case, they are working together, and I'm very glad to see it. While Memphis has seen some recent declines for some offenses, things like homicide, motor vehicle theft remain well above pre-pandemic levels. Homicides for the first half of 2025 were 58% higher than the first half of 2019. Motor vehicle thefts double what they were in the first 6 months of 2025 compared to the same period in 2019. And so it's refreshing to see our leaders working together. It is proven, research is very clear on this. When you surge resources and you increase law enforcement, especially to hotspot areas where there's high crime known to be active, you will cut crime. You will make the streets safer. And we've seen it in Washington, D.C. We're seeing it I hope to see it in Memphis. And who knows if we'll see it in Chicago next.
Yeah. Justin, it's interesting. I'm wondering if you can talk about just your perspective from a historical standpoint, because this seems unprecedented. I think Trump's aggressive efforts here to clean up cities across the country and to help make those communities safer is nothing that I've ever seen before. And I'm wondering, am I sort of making that up? Because I feel like a lot of Republican presidents and Republican lawmakers in the past have been squeamish about this. They're so terrified of being called racist. They're so terrified of, looking basically too strong on this or not trusting local officials to do this. And Trump doesn't care. He just doesn't care. He's been called every name in the book. So is that right? This seems unprecedented to me.
We have certainly seen federal officials be very aggressive before in history. You can look at organized crime efforts as one example. That's not nearly as large a scope as we're talking here.
Right.
But, your comment about Trump just doesn't care about what he's called, for instance. And while that's probably true, I would actually flip it the other way. He cares an incredible amount of public safety, and that's what he appears to be focused on. And that's what I think how the public will respond is being thankful for that. And the fact that the locals are working with him right now is hopefully something we can see replicated. Put politics aside, put public safety first. I like to say that public safety should be treated as a moral obligation, not a political experiment. That's why my organization, Americans for Public Safety, was formed. We've just seen too often in the last few years where these games are played with dangerous individuals and saying, let's just continue to let them out on the street before they're brought to trial, even though they're accused of considerable violent offenses, rape, murder. We have the poor young woman in North Carolina who was murdered by an individual who was arrested on multiple violent offenses, yet allowed to wander the street. We had a woman, Rosalie Cook, in Houston, murdered by an individual who had been arrested 67 times, multiple violent offenses, was released on 2 PR bonds at the time he murdered Rosalie. And we're seeing this across the country, and it's very disrespectful to law enforcement to ask them to put their lives on the line over and over, to arrest these individuals over and over, only to release dangerous offenders, clearly dangerous offenders, back out onto the streets. And then what do the cops have to go do? Put their lives on the line to arrest them again. Now, there's a scale here we need to look at. And when it comes to public safety, we have to put that first.
We got to leave it there, but I'd love to extend this conversation and learn more about Americans for Public Safety with you, Mr. Keener. So if you'd be so kind as to come back another time, let's get into it even further, because it's something that we care deeply about here.
Would love to. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, sir. That's Justin Keener, Americans for Public Safety. 8:45. Wow, that went by fast, didn't it?
Hey, it's Chris Plant. Find out what the media don't want you to know. Coming up this morning at 9, right here on WMAL.
Iconic Hollywood actor and director Robert Redford has passed away at the age of 89. I had no idea that he was 89 years old, almost 90 years old. In recent years, he's still been acting in major blockbuster films, most notably in Marvel's superhero Avengers, Marvel movies, where he played a villainous Secretary of Defense, if I remember. Or was the Secretary of State? Can't remember. Who was actually working on behalf of the bad guys. Of course, he was best known and shot to superstardom in the late 60s and early 70s with films like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting, The Way We Were.
Yep.
You have a particular fondness for his performance in Indecent Proposal. You were
No, 3 Days of the Condor.
Oh.
And yes, I might have a little crush on Robert Redford. I've always thought he was the most beautiful man him, and and Paul Newman. My goodness, what a combo. Very sad to hear this. I know he was an environmentalist, and he certainly was no conservative, but boy, he was
big time
a great
political
actor.
activist. He was very politically involved. And his film, The Candidate, by the way, is a perfect seminal movie about politics and elections, and of course that iconic moment at the end where he looks at his team after winning the election and says, "Now what?"
Yeah. But Sundance, I don't think has produced the best films, but some good ones. But anyway, great actor and not hard to look at, Larry. I know you'd like to make fun of me for that, but not hard to look at.
You could having a moment. He. Like all young actors, moved to New York City, wanted to be a serious theater actor. He went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and his big breakout role was in Neil Simon's romantic comedy Barefoot in the Park.
Barefoot in the Park, the best.
Yes.
The best.
A role he repeated on film opposite Jane Fonda, but the original, Jane Fonda did not do the Broadway play, but he was perfect in that role, and that sort of shot him up into superstardom. And when he decided he wanted to be a director, do you remember his debut film as a director? I do, vividly.
I hate this because I'm sure...
Mary Tyler Moore, Donald Sutherland.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Ordinary People.
Oh, my gosh, one of my favorite films. How did I
Great
not know
movie.
that when you said, oh, gosh.
Great movie. That was his directorial debut, or major film directorial debut, I should say, which earned him an Oscar
If you have not seen
nomination.
Ordinary People, take the day off, honestly.
That's a great movie. It's a great movie and very much captures that late 70s, early 80s sort of suburban angst.
And if you want to look at him, just look at him. 3 Days of the Condor is my favorite for that. He just is so handsome in that movie.
And, of course, as far as Washington, D.C. is concerned, he will always be remembered as the much better-looking version of Bob Woodward in All the President's Men. That's right. Alongside Dustin Hoffman, another iconic role. I mean, honestly, he embodied every single part that he played. He was truly great at what he did. And Robert Redford is now dead at the age of 89. Rest in peace.